Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. I'm B.R. Valeda, Chair of the Indo-Pacific Languages and Literature Department. On behalf of the Center for Philippine Studies, we thank you for your presence here today. In partnership with the Consulate General in Honolulu and the Office of Senator Loren Legarda, CPS has brought visiting scholars from the Philippines, including Michael Coroza from Ateneo de Manila, Paolo Baculan from Ateneo High School, Poet Laureate of Virginia Luisa Igloria, and Joy Marfield from the University of the Philippines. To enhance our knowledge of Philippine culture, we invited a special guest who was born and raised in Lanao, Mindanao. He holds a bachelor's degree in history from Mindanao State University Iligan Institute of Technology, a master's degree from Mindanao State University Marawi, where he learned to speak Maranao, and a PhD in history from University of the Philippines, Diliman. He also has additional specialization in anthropology. He has served as chair of the History Department, campus secretary and chief of staff at the Office of the Chancellor, and director of the Alumni and Endowment Fund Center that helped raise from $50,000, 50,000 pesos, to 200,000 to 2 million pesos in just a year. He also was director of the Institute of Peace and Development in Mindanao, and in this capacity, he implemented over 100 peacekeeping programs with local and international partners. In 2015, he was one of the speakers for the Center for Philippine Studies Conference, so it has taken him 8 years to return to our beautiful shores. So please join me in welcoming our dearest colleague from Mindanao State University, Dr. Juvanni Caballero.
Thank you so much, Pia, for the very generous introduction. I have 3 lectures to share with you, but because of limited time, I'm going to share with you a very important social phenomenon that one could observe if you are in Mindanao. Okay? So this is the title of my presentation, When Matabarat Influences a Business Practice. As we go along the discussions, I will eventually explain to you what the word maratabat means. Maratabat. Okay? So there are several concepts that are involved here, like the idea of discrimination. Anyway, I'd like to start by sharing with you an anecdote regarding the experience of a Muslim colleague from my institution. This is Dr. Jamail Kamlian. He is a native of Parang, Sulu. Sulu is actually the southernmost part of the southernmost region of the Philippines. And if you are familiar with the Abu Sayyaf group, this is one of the the stigma that was associated with the group, but of course that's a long gone history already. He's Muslim, he's Tausug by ethnic affiliation, and this is his story. I was in the middle of trying to purchase a doorknob in one of Iligan's hardware stores. Iligan is my hometown. Okay? When suddenly a group of Maranaos, the Maranaos are another group of Islamized tribe in the southern Philippines, and they are native to Lanao, okay, which is my home province. Okay? Suddenly a group of Maranaos arrived to buy also the item that I would like to buy. The salesperson who attended me secretly advised me to wait because there were Muslim customers. So I inquired, so what if there were Muslim customers? He replied, actually, we sell this at 600 for Muslim customers, but for people like us, it's only 400. Wanting to enjoy the big discount, I silently stayed in one corner and pretended to be a non-Muslim. Okay. The sales attendant, by the way, was a non-Muslim. Okay. After the Muslims had gone, I asked the sales attendant to give me more discount because he already got big profit from his Muslim customers. And ultimately, I was able to buy the doorknob at 350. I would suppose that if that happens here in the United States or in Hawaii, that's going to cause a revolution probably. No? But anyway, so that's the experience, no, of Dr. Jamael Kamlian. No? So in order for us to understand the social phenomenon that I am talking about, let us unpack some terms. No? The first term probably that we need to unpack is that idea of discrimination. And I consulted several dictionaries to unpack the idea of discrimination. It says, treating people differently through prejudice. Unfair treatment of one person or group usually because of prejudice about race, ethnicity, age, religion, or gender. No? To give unfair treatment, especially because of prejudice, making a difference in treatment on a basis other than individual merit, to make a distinction. This is quite a neutral definition. Noticing or making differences or distinction, another neutral definition. Ability to notice and value quality. This is somehow very positive. The ability to appreciate good quality or taste and to have good taste or judgment. As I was reading these definitions, I noticed that discrimination is somehow associated with another very important concept to unpack, no? And this is the idea of prejudice. And prejudice, according to the various dictionaries that I consulted, it says that it's defined as preformed opinion based on insufficient knowledge, irrational feelings, or inaccurate stereotypes, and an opinion made without adequate basis. Okay? We also have to understand that the word Muslim and the word Maranao or the word Tausug or the word Maguindanao, there are, if you were present in my presentation yesterday, there are actually 13 Muslim groups in the Philippines, in the southern Philippines in particular, no? And but the term Muslim and the name of the local tribe is more often than not used interchangeably as if they are synonyms, when we know that they are not. No? So we know that a Muslim is a follower of the religion called Islam, no? And in the stereotype that we have, if you see this, group of people wearing the white robe or the black robe or whatever, then you have the sahal or the scarf, you have the tutub or the cap, no? This is our image of the Muslims. Okay? So, being Muslim is actually a religious identity, no? But the word Maranao or Mranao, this is an ethnic identity. No? It refers to the Islamized group of a region in the Philippines, in the southern Philippines, called Lanao. No? And this is one of the 13 Moro tribes that I was talking about. And in Lanao, as I've said, this term is confused and interchangeably used with the term Muslim. Okay? By the way, that's me, and these are my 3 sons. Sorry for the advertisement. Anyway. Now, let's introduce ourselves to the very important concept of Matabarat. Okay? Matabarat is said to be the core of Maranao psychology. If you want to understand the Maranao people, you need to understand the concept of Matabarat. And by the way, the Maranao people were the last to be subjugated by the Western colonizers. They remained independent for more than 300 years, while the rest of the Philippines was under the Spanish colonial regime. And they were the last to be defeated by the Americans when the United States decided to colonize the Philippines. No? So this is a very, a group that is so proud of their history as the last to be conquered by Western colonialism. Its closest equivalent in English perhaps will be pride, honor, and self-esteem. And this is the folk mental makeup to account for explain, justify, and rationalize actions and behaviors over a wide range of situations. No? Among the Maranao, one scholar said, the Maratabat has developed beyond the original Arabic. Maratabat is actually derived from the Arabic etymological root, no, martabat, and basically the meaning has been shifted by the Maranaos from rank. The original meaning in Arabic is associated with rank, but the Maranao gives it rank sensitivity. From prestige to seeking after prestige, from status to status honor and status enhancement. The meaning has been changed by Maranao usage. In the process, the original word has been filled with new and different, although related meanings. It is very possible that the present understanding of Maratabat is an indigenous pre-Islamic Filipino idea, and that Maranao Maratabat is an Arabic loan word which has been shorn of its original meaning in order to fit the concept that was already present in the Maranao society. So what is Maratabat? Maranaos consider it, the sense of pride, honor, and self-esteem, as more precious than life itself. And they have this saying, a man without Maratabat is a nobody. And a man who loses his Maratabat becomes very, very small. An important man is one with lots of Maratabat. It is no ordinary pride, honor, and self-esteem of the individual. We know that we all have pride, honor, and self-esteem, but this is actually a collective pride, honor, and self-esteem. It involves projecting an image, an individual and collective image that is characterized by attitude, wealth or display of wealth, and display of power. Attitude refers to how a Maranao should behave and carry himself in public so that he gets the admiration, the awe, the respect of others, both from Maranao and non-Maranao individuals. It is carrying oneself in such a precautionary manner so that no one could possibly hurl insults or sarcastic remarks against him. The Maranao is very sensitive. Let me share with you another anecdote, about dual pricing or price discrimination in order for us to understand the phenomenon that I am referring to. On July 18, 2008, we happened to be hitchhiking in the car of a Maranao friend who was on his way home from Marawi to Iligan. Marawi is the predominantly Muslim city. In fact, it's the only Islamic city in the Philippines, while Iligan is the predominantly Christian city. They're just 37 kilometers apart. Okay. And then when we reached Barangay Maria Cristina in Baloy, it's a municipality or a town between the two cities. We passed by some Christian vendors selling fresh tilapia fish. It is common seen in that part of the highway between Iligan and Marawi where freshly caught tilapia from Lake Nangka are sold. There's a lake between Iligan and Marawi, by the way. Our Maranao friend who was driving the car was captivated by a vendor who was holding two live tilapia pricked on a coconut midrib. He then stopped to inquire about the price of the fish. We were shocked because the item was priced at 350 pesos when barely it looks 1.5 kilograms. Our friend begged for a discount, but the vendor explained that she couldn't do so because she was only asked to sell it. Seconds dragged to minutes, and our friend was eventually given a 50 peso discount, which means that the price of the tilapia is now down to 300. 5 minutes went by and the negotiation continued. Our friend cited every possible reason for the vendor to give it at 150. He said that it was getting dark, hence the vendor should sell it to him so she can go home. He also said that he's got nothing but 150, his last money. But the vendor also begged him. She explained that the fish was not hers and that she only gets a commission out of its sale. Nevertheless, his plea was responded with another 50 additional discount that made the tilapia priced at 250
Still, we felt it was overpriced. Our Maranao friend became so desperate to get the tilapia so that he told the vendor, sige na good, 150 na lang, parihar bitaw ta Bisaya. Translation is, come on, give it to me at 150. After all, we are both Bisaya. Bisaya is another ethnic group there, but they are Christians. They are Christians. So, being Bisaya is somehow is always equated to being Christian. Okay? I am Bisaya, but I am Muslim. Okay? So, it's kind of difficult to understand sometimes if you are not coming from the local context. Anyway, so fortunately, our friend being raised in Lanao del Norte among Visaya neighbors did not have the typical Maranao accent. So it was not obvious that he is one of the people of the lake. By the way, the Maranaos speak a very distinct accent. They have plenty of the schwa sound, the You don't have it's not a, it's not e, it's not o, but it's for example, miyakargurgun. You don't hear the letter a or the letter a, the letter e. Miyakargurgun. Okay. So, because he did not have that accent, okay, yeah, a little bit frowning and with a low voice, the vendor made one last attempt to appeal. She said, "Mahal na baya kaayo ang bugas, sir. Bisag puna na lang nimo in town og gis. Rice is already very expensive, sir. Kindly add 10 pesos to your price." And down to 160, our friend bought the 2 tilapia, a total of 190 discount for a Maranao customer whose pretense of being Bisaya was very convincing. There's another one. I forgot to put the translation there, but this is the anecdote of a Christian informant. Okay. And she said, probably Professor Jason can help me translate this one to English. Or Dr. Pia, like, hindi wala. You came from another ethnic group in the Philippines, that's why you cannot.
I can help you.
Okay, please.
I really hate it when it's Ramadan here in Legarda because the prices go up. The prices of fruits go up. Osaka or Puerto is really very expensive. But in Cagayan de Oro, where I actually am from, it doesn't happen. Mugara to the mga vendors not to pay. How do you translate that?
Oh, very difficult. I just realized
The
Dr.
vendors take
Pia's.
advantage, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, like Mugara. Like the vendors take advantage of the Ramadan season because they raise the prices of the fruits to exorbitant heights. That's the and this is a Christian complaining about Ramadan because during Ramadan the prices of the fruits, which is the typical item or a food item that Muslims use to break their daily fast during sunset, okay, becomes exorbitantly high. Okay? And then she was telling us this story. There was even, there was even one instance where I got insulted by the vendor because I was begging for a discount. I was haggling with the price. And then the vendor simply said, "Ma'am, if you are going to buy, just buy. Do not ask for a discount. After all, our Muslim customers are going to consume and buy all of our fruits this afternoon." This is a Christian complaining about Ramadan. Okay? And you have there, in the earlier case, you have a Muslim taking advantage of the big discount for Christians. Okay. I do not know if this is part of pop culture. I understand that this class is about culture, it's about pop culture. But maybe this is somehow related, to your course. This is another one. Between Marawi and Iligan, there is another place there where during Kainito season, is it star apple? In English, star apple. I don't know if you have that here in Hawaii, but there is a fruit called star apple. And this was the anecdote of the story of a fellow faculty member from Marawi who was confined to the campus for 2 semesters, for 1 long year. And then, so she said, after my first 2 semesters in MSU Marawi, I finally got the chance to go home. Because it was quite some time already that I confined myself within the academic environment of the campus, I was excited to see the outside world. I so eagerly packed my things and boarded a jeep. A jeep, by the way, is our, public means of transportation there. Probably you see that, no? When we reached Ditokala, that's the place where the kaimitos are sold, I noticed that the once empty fruit stands were suddenly teeming with something. They were selling my favorite fruit, the milky kaimito. I realized it was summer already and the kaimito season filled the vacant fruit stands with the purple and green variety. I could not help myself but salivate and wish that some courageous passengers would dare request the Maranao driver to stop for a while. Our informant here is a Christian, not teacher. To stop for a while so he or she could buy some of the delicious fruit. Indeed, my prayer was answered. The driver himself pulled over because apparently kaimito is also his favorite fruit. I did not waste time. Along with the Maranao driver, I immediately bought my favorite fruit. It was sold by bunch of 4 at 20 pesos and I bought 1 bunch just to satisfy my craving. When I boarded the jeep again, a Christian co-passenger in her early 50s whispered to me, "Why did you buy there when the price is very high? If you go to Palao in Iligan, you can buy that at 15 pesos per kilo. A kilogram is about 6 or 7 medium size of that fruit. The price of kaimito in those fruit stands is Maranao price." So they have such a thing called Maranao price, no? And a Christian price, no? Or a Muslim price. No? And when I reached Iligan, I happened to see a kaimito vendor near the UCCP church, and I inquired about the price, and my co-passenger was right. So she regretted that she bought, the kaimito in Ditokala. Discrimination, as we often understand it, is something that we do not like. It's something that we abhor, no? And often people who discriminate are motivated by hate or dislike, right? And so we inquire, as a researcher, I actually inquired, do the Christian vendors hate the Muslim customers? Why they raise the prices of the fruits or the commodities that they buy? No? Is it hate, dislike, or prejudice that motivates the Christian vendors to resort to dual pricing or price discrimination? And I inquired from the vendors. No, I went to them, asked them, why do you raise the prices? Do you hate the Maranao customers? And said, we love our Maranao customers. Bongga, what's bongga? They're bunga baya na sila kung mamalit. It's not showy. It's like bonga, like
They're excellent buyers.
they're gallant buyers. Gallant buyers. No? So they like millionaires when they buy. Okay? And sa ako alam mas ganahan pagali ko. So for me personally, this is according to another informant. For me personally, I even prefer Maranao customers because they do not beg. They just buy. And they are not like us, like Christians, like Bisaya. They kusog kayo. This is a superlative. Superlative. They beg, but they do not just beg. They are they haggle extremely, no? To some extreme extent. Something like that, no? And that's the reason why the Christian vendors would say, I prefer the Maranao customers more than the Christians or the Bisayas, because then the Christians are very cheap. They always haggle for discounts. But the Muslims, the Maranaos, no, they do not.
Sa tinuod lang, wala ba yung minalipay?
I conducted this research in 2008, no, where the peace process between the government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front somehow had problems. Like, it did not collapse because the government and the rebels continued talking for peace, but there were like violent encounters between the armed forces of the two parties, no? And the informant was saying, honestly, I am not happy with the recent violence because our sales really decreased, no? Our Maranao customers, our sales decreased because our Maranao customers decreased. Okay? And they are the ones who are our gallant, buyers. They are the ones who are very good at buying, no? And another informant, this informant is from the local government unit, no? And she was saying, if the Muslims are gone here in Iligan will become like a ghost town. The businesses here will not, earn. Look at Iligan during Saturdays and Sundays. There, Gaisano, by the way, is one of the biggest malls, no, in my hometown. And then she said, look at Gaisano during Sundays and Saturdays. Who are the biggest buyers there? Isn't it the Maranaos or the Muslims? No? And again, yung unya, grabe rabana sila mupalit kay tingog-tingog yun. They do not just buy, they buy by bulk. So that's the image that the Christian vendors, even the Christian observers, notice about the Maranaos. Does it mean there is no bias or stereotype involved? I wouldn't say there is none. No? There is stereotype involved, no, on the part of the vendors. No? Said, like for example, no, who are Muslims? The Muslims are those who wear the white robe, wear a beard, wear the cap and the scarf. No, just like the one that I showed you. Those are Muslims. So I am Muslim in this picture. But if I wear this clothing, I'm no longer Muslim, Jason. So, in our local context, no? But being Muslim is not a thing on the surface. It's in the heart. It's what's inside. Just like being a Christian, no? So anyway, but in my hometown or in in our local context, the Muslim is someone like that. And apart from the what's this? The physical appearance, the clothing, a Muslim has to have the accent. Like, for those who could understand Tagalog, no, I will be speaking Tagalog with a Maranao accent. And I will say, Ana, Giri, pagdating natin sa Manila na hindi tayo magpahalata ng mga Maranao, tanong, oh. You listen to Dr. Pia speak Tagalog. It's very soft, very malumanay. But yet she's Ilongga as well. No? But again, the Tagalog is also malumana, it's also soft spoken. No? But the Maranao, they're like very hard. No? They don't even have the letter, like of course, no. This is the typical. I'm talking about the typical. No? Like I remember an oral communication class in Mindanao State University. Ma'am, can I borrow the paper? An oral communication class, and then the teacher was teaching the students how to pronounce the letter F. Said F, and then the Mara will say "ip," because they're very hard speakers, and the teacher said, "No, that's F. You see, there is air coming out from your lips, when you pronounce that letter. And then the Mara again said, ip, ip. No, if you're going to put a paper in front of your face, the paper should move when you pronounce the letter F. F, F, like that. And so the teacher put the piece of paper in front of this, he's a student, and the Mara student said, ip, ip. Of course, this is an exaggeration, but this is how diverse the southern Philippines is. And I was sharing that particular anecdote, because of the accent involved. That if you are Muslim, you have to have the accent. I'm not saying all Maranaos cannot speak English fluently. We have very good speakers among the Maranaos. And there are also a lot of Maranaos who can speak fluently Tagalog or Filipino, and even Bisaya, like my friend who was driving the car and bought the 2 tilapia. He is very good, both in Tagalog, in English, and in Bisaya or Cebuano. Okay, anyway. Another point that we can say is anchored on this stereotype is that big-time Christian customers are only those with cars and rich-looking. So if you want to buy and you are wearing something very clean, very neat, you will be stereotyped as rich. You will be lumped with the Maranao price. Ordinary Christian customers are expected to ask for discounts. Very, very bad stereotype. We know this is very bad. But we are, as academics, we study social phenomena, right? Anyway. Obviously, thus, there is bias and stereotype involved, but is it necessarily a negative bias? In case number 1, where the non-Maranao customer got a discount because he was pretending to be non-Muslim, okay, the sales attendant made him to wait as he had to attend to his Maranao customers first. So who got discriminated there? This is the question. My Muslim colleague was complaining about Muslims being discriminated because vendors sell higher price. The commodities at higher prices, and so he had to pretend that he is not Muslim. But he was told, "Can you wait for a while? I'll attend to my Muslim customer first." Who got discriminated there? That's a question. It depends on which factors we give more weight. Because if you think that the Muslims got discriminated, the Maranaos got discriminated because the prices were raised to exorbitant heights, then probably that's your way of looking at discrimination. But if you look at discrimination as something that you had to be told to wait for a while because there are more important people here, the one who got the discount is the one who is experiencing discrimination. That's how I see as an academic. The case number 2, an enthusiastic vendor, because he saw someone driving a car from the point of Marawi. So if you are from Marawi and you are going to Iligan, you must be Maranao, you must be Muslim. That's how the vendors think. And she was very enthusiastic, trying to sell the tilapia at 350. Sir, tilapia. By the way, tilapia is the one of the most loved delicacy among the Maranao people. Okay. So she was very enthusiastic, and then suddenly she turned unenthusiastic. She became sad because it turned out, based on her stereotype, that the customer was not a Maranao. Okay? Because the Maranao doesn't beg. Or if he begs, he only begs once. Okay?
In the third case, a Christian customer got insulted by a vendor who was confident that her Muslim customers will buy her fruits later. It was the Christian who got discriminated. And in case number 4, the preference of vendors to sell along the highway between Marawi and Iligan because of the Maranao customers. I asked the vendors of Ditukalan, the ones who sell the kainito, the star apple, and they were saying, "Sir, we prefer to sell our fruits here because, firstly, there is transportation cost if we go to Iligan. Okay? So that's impractical. Secondly, the customers here are more often than not Maranaos. They're big-time customers. So why would we go to Iligan? And we have competition there as well from the Christian vendors, no? And we have plenty of cheap customers there trying to haggle with us for big discounts. So we would prefer to stay here in this spot because our target customers are the Maranao customers." Okay. So the reason behind pricing is actually practicality on the part of the vendors. No? They want to optimize their income by trying to target the Maranao customers. And I think this is very important, the familiarity of some Christian vendors on the Maratabat culture of the Maranaos, the Maratabat psyche of the Maranaos. Remember, Maratabat is considered, rank sensitivity, seeking after prestige, status honor, and status enhancement. Okay. And it is the one that pushes the Maranao to carry himself in such a precautionary manner so that no one could possibly hurl insults or sarcastic remarks against him. If you call the Maranao Sultan, then you behave like a sultan. And a sultan is supposed to beg no discount because you are the sultan. If you are called Datu, if you are called Kadi, if you are called the Haji, somebody who has already gone to Makkah, then you are expected to behave like somebody who can spend thousands of pesos just to go to pilgrimage. And for just a little amount of the kainito, you beg for a discount. It's very unbecoming of a sultan, unbecoming of a dato, unbecoming of a haji to beg for discounts. And the Christian vendors apparently are very familiar with this particular psyche of the Maranaos. No? And they take advantage of that. Okay, sorry. So Maratabat pressures the Maranao to live up to how he is addressed or treated by the vendor. Address him as Ma'am, Sir, Kadi, the one that I explained already there. It is this behavior that the profit-seeking vendors take advantage of in his Maranao customers. And Maratabat, therefore, is like a two-edged sword. It's like a strength and at the same time a shortcoming. It's a strength because you get treated like a VIP. No? People will respect you. People you will strike awe in people. No? But at the same time, it is a shortcoming because vendors will take advantage of you. I know that if I'm going to address him as Datu, Kadi, Sultan, he will pay more and he will not haggle for a discount. So that's the two-edged sword that I am talking about. That's the issue that I'm talking about when I talk about dual pricing or price discrimination in our local context. The issue is given religious color because the people involved are individuals who are identified by common understanding as Muslims and Christians. So it becomes religious because Muslim,
Oh, this is Christian, no?
The vendor's knowledge on the Maranao and his maratabat, coupled with some vendor's malefactor, is responsible for the irregular business practice of dual pricing in my home region. No? A maratabat, therefore, is both a strength, as I've said, and a shortcoming. On one hand, it can generate awe, admiration, respect. However, the same can be a potent factor that makes the Maranao vulnerable to exploitation. So I think that ends my. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave you more questions than answers, and probably we can discuss that during the open forum.